Today's gonna be interesting. I haven't flipped a jig in a bush in over 3 years. I don't even know if I'm gonna catch a fish today flipping, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. Big one.
Almost all the tournaments I've ever won have come flipping bushes, just like we're fishing today. Johnny hasn't flipped in 3 years, and if he beats me today in this flipping challenge, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Randy started fishing in the back of some shallow pockets off the main lake. The water visibility in the area he started was between 3 and 3.5 feet of visibility. The water temperature ranged between 56 and 60 degrees. Shortly after he started fishing, Randy realized there wasn't as much water in the shallow bushes as he had expected. The water had been 3 feet high on this lake the week prior. However, it had slowly fallen back down to normal pool. This meant that most of the bushes had less than 1.5 feet of water in them, and very few bushes had the 2 to 2.5 feet of water in them that Randy needed to catch his fish. This isn't a bad thing though, because it concentrates the fish into those key stretches. However, it does mean that a lot of these pockets were dead water. It took him a bit to figure out exactly which bushes were the best to hold fish, but after he dialed it in, he quickly put his first keeper in the boat.
There we go. Just second cast with that heavier jig there. There we go. Nice one there. That is unbelievable. That's the second cast I made. What I did is I was using a 3/8 ounce jig and I switched to a 5/8. Second cast, that was the upgrade. I went to that heavier jig because the water's clear. Wanted to see if I could get that reaction strike, and that was the result, man, right there.
I chose to start in a different area from Randy, and actually went a few miles towards the dam to the clear water section of the lake. As soon as I got into my first creek, I realized that there was very little water in the bushes, and I was also fishing in a creek that had 4.5 to 5 feet of water visibility. Whenever you have really clear water and very little water in the flooded bushes or shallow cover, it is very difficult to catch fish flipping with 20-pound tests in shallow water. I immediately realized this was not the type of water I needed to be fishing, turned the boat around, and ran back down the lake to find some dirtier water. After running 2 or 3 miles down the lake, I found a pocket with water visibility that was in the 2 to 2.5 foot range. Next, I needed to determine where the fish were within these pockets. The water temperatures again were 56 degrees when we started the day. This means that the fish could be in a pre-spawn mode, a spawning mode, or there could be some fish in a post-spawn mode. To determine where the fish were in each pocket, I decided to start on the main lake and fish my way back to the very back. I didn't spend long fishing one bank or one area. Instead, I tried to cover as much water as possible to find a pattern and determine where in the creeks the fish were positioning. After fishing the main lake portion and first third of this creek, I got my first bite on a secondary point 2/3 of the way back into this pocket.
Got him. Nice one. There we go, number one right there. On a little jig. I think that's 14 inches at least. Oh yeah, there we go. Got a 15 incher right there. Beautiful fish. Number one, not a big one, but hey, I'm on the board.
Meanwhile, Randy had a head start on his shallow, flooded bush pattern. He quickly bounced from pocket to pocket, fishing the isolated bushes with a little bit deeper water. This produced several fish very quickly. The quality wasn't there on every single fish, but every once in a while he would connect with a really good 2.5 to 3 pound bass. While he started with a 3/8 ounce flipping jig with a Zoom Super Chunk trailer on the back, he found that he could actually get more bites by tying on a 1/2 ounce flipping jig. The faster falls seemed to generate a few more bites, especially in the areas where the water visibility was between 2 and 3 feet. After making this slight bait change, he was getting bit on every single stretch of bushes he was pulling up on. It's getting pretty bad for me right now, and Randy definitely has the lead at this point in the day. Back in my area, I finally got a break and got one big bite that completely turned around my day.
Big one. Stay on there, fish. Oh, there we go. Beautiful fish right there. So I'm talking about. Randy, watch out. Figuring it out. There we go. Good one.
This fish came off a very unique bank element. If we take a look at this bank using an aerial view, you can clearly see a rocky ledge that sticks out that's 2 feet on top, that then drops into 6 to 8 feet of water right off the bank. A few weeks ago, the water was higher, and a lot of the fish were spawning or getting ready to spawn in the shallow flooded bushes on top of this rocky ledge. However, as the lake started to fall and went back to normal pool, I believe a lot of the fish actually moved out of the shallow bushes and got right on that rocky ledge, or the edge where that rock dropped into deeper water. The last fish bit right when that jig popped off the top of the ledge and fell into deeper water. I then tried to replicate this pattern in the same pocket and quickly caught another keeper. What I found is that if I used the 360 imaging on my Humminbird Helix 9, I could actually see these rocky ledges that were invisible to my eyes, but that were plain as day on the 360 imaging. What I could then do is pitch my jig to the areas where that rock dropped from shallower to deeper water using the 360 imaging and get bit consistently on every single area that looked like this. The biggest challenge was finding these areas. You can see them plain as day if we take a look at Google Earth and then take the lake down 2 or 3 feet. However, I hadn't planned to fish this way in my preparation and didn't have any of these areas marked on Google Earth before I came to the lake. This ended up costing me a lot of time because I was having to randomly pull up in the back third of these pockets and use my 360 imaging to find these rocky ledges. I was about 50% accurate at picking the correct banks that had this ledge rock. However, when I did find one of these areas, I would get bit almost 100% of the time. It was actually unreal how consistent this pattern was, and I was getting all of my bites using a 7/16 ounce jewel finesse flipping jig. I paired that with the new jewel bait VersaCraw in the junior size. I was using a green pumpkin trailer on a peanut butter and jelly jig, and it seemed like that 7/16 ounce size was better than the 5/16 ounce size I started the day with. Just like Randy, the faster fall on that jig seemed to produce some better bites in these post-front conditions as the lake was falling. Really quick, I want to let you guys know about some upcoming seminars on our website, fishthemoment.com. The first seminar is an advanced offshore summer bass fishing seminar. I'll be going over some advanced techniques on how to avoid fishing pressure offshore in the summer, how to target inactive bass that are either suspended or on isolated pieces of cover, and a lot of other advanced techniques I've never talked about before in my YouTube videos. The next seminar is a seasonal bass movement seminar. If you're wondering how we were able to locate bass on Lake Stockton quickly and easily, this is the seminar for you. I'll be explaining how you can track and follow bass around a lake as they move from season to season. I'll be discussing how weather conditions, lake conditions, and other environmental factors affect bass behavior and bass movement throughout the year. This is a great seminar if you're struggling to find bass consistently and will help you locate bass a lot faster every time you go to the lake. Check out both these seminars on fishthemoment.com. At this point in the day, I was working my way towards a solid limit, but Randy still had the edge. He also had his pattern dialed in even more than I did, and it was a little bit easier for him to pick out the correct banks because he could visually see the bushes up in shallow water without having to use his electronics. Unfortunately, flipping shallow bushes can be a risk and reward pattern. He actually hung 2 really good fish in the middle of a bush and wasn't able to get them out. Both of these fish were bigger than anything he had in the live well and were definitely game changers. That's the risk you run when you're flipping a big jig in heavy cover. Despite that, Randy was still catching them like crazy, and I was definitely falling behind as the day progressed. Randy also made an adjustment as the water temperature started to warm up in the afternoon and the sun came out. He made a move further down the lake into some shallower, dirtier pockets and started fishing a black and blue jig. However, as he got further into the dirty water pockets, he saw the quality of his fish decreasing. Therefore, he made a run back up to the clear water area, where the pockets had 2 to 3 feet of water visibility. This was the perfect water visibility to get those better than average quality fish to bite. However, he was running out of water and he'd fished almost every single stretch with the key bushes in them. On the other end of the lake, I had plenty of areas to check out. However, I was wasting a lot of time pulling up on banks without that ledge rock on it. But with about 30 minutes left in the day, I pulled in the back of a creek and found a secondary point with some really nice ledge rock on it. I threw the jig up there, missed a fish, and then caught this one.
Got him. Good one. There we go. Come up here, fish. Oh, there we go. Solid upgrade right there. Man, I got multiple bites off this little point. Got some pre-spawn fish staging up here. All flipping. That little finesse flipping jig by Jewel with the VersaCraw on the back. Solid fish. Let's get a cull real quick.
At this point, I still felt like I needed 2 more 4+ pound bass to catch up with Randy. However, the fishing was a little bit tougher than we both expected, and Randy and I were neck and neck heading into the last 30 minutes of the day. If either of us could connect with a 4-pounder in the last 30 minutes, we would take this challenge. But it seems like the last minute heroics weren't meant to be, so we headed back to the launch ramp to weigh him in.
Okay, Randy, we got the weigh bag. Let's see what the damage is.
Hey, I'm curious here.
Oh man, okay, well let's start with my biggest one first. I'm just messing with you. The little guy, little male.
Nice 15-incher.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Another little decent one.
Yeah, that's a chunk.
Nothing crazy yet. Okay.
Another nice chunk.
A little chunk, nothing big.
By the way, for those who are worried, I'm not puncturing the fish's mouth with my call tags or putting the clip through the fish's gills.
That's
Ooh,
getting
better
bigger.
One.
That's a better one.
Getting bigger. You know me, I can't go and not get at least one
there
decent
you go.
one.
That's a good one.
Probably have 4 of these, but hey.
That is a good one there.
At least I got one decent fish on the jig today.
Yeah, that's a solid fish right there for starting.
There we go. Okay, let's get a weight on these guys. We're just gonna weigh the bag and all, guys. It's kind of hard to tear these scales, so we're just gonna weigh them all. So you'll have to subtract the weight of the bag just a tiny bit, but not a big deal. So let's get a final weight here. Final weight with bag, 13 pounds, 9 ounces.
That's a solid
13
bag.
and a half pounds, nothing big, but hey.
You do have a big one in there. That's
So, I mean, 13 pounds is better than nothing. That's what I can say. It's not gonna beat Randy, but it's better than nothing. Nice
one,
chunk.
just like the one you've had there.
That's bigger than my smallest one right there for sure. Fatter, chunkier.
Got that one there.
Nice.
Another one about the same.
There are a lot of those little cookie cutter males up on the bank today. That's a nice one right
A
there.
little bit bigger.
Solid little 2 3/4 pounder, 3-pounder. Nice one.
That one. So I don't know, man. I think you may have
Chunks, I don't know. It's gonna be close, guys.
This is gonna be.
Okay. Oh, 14 even. He clipped
man.
me by half
I can't
a pound.
believe it. This is the biggest victory of my career, beating Johnny Schultz.
Oh,
It's not happened hardly ever.
I can't believe it was that close.
That was tight, man.
I can't believe it.
Right
I
at the end of the day, that last.
could have sworn you were just gonna blow me away. That is awesome.
Man, I'm telling you, 13 pounds is a solid bag up here right now. It's not nothing to be ashamed about.
Well, guys, we caught some fish today, flipping a jig. Well, Randy was flipping, I was doing something else. But either way, we caught him on a flipping jig today on Stockton Lake. Great day on the water. Randy, thanks for having a blast with me out here today.
It was fun, man.
And we'll see y'all in the next video, next challenge.